as mature as Denny Hamlin has become, and as much of a leader as he has become, I'm really surprised that he chose that action in that moment during the playoffs for a championship.
Denny Hamlin may be one of the most successful drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series, but his latest on-track decision has thrown his 2025 championship hopes into chaos, and Kevin Harvick isn't holding back. What looked like just another mid-pack battle during the USA Today 301 at New Hampshire quickly turned into a firestorm that's now consuming Joe Gibbs racing from the inside out. Ty Gibbs, the rookie sensation and grandson of team owner Joe Gibbs, was running side-by-side with Hamlin when everything unraveled. On lap 110, Hamlin appeared to turn his own teammate, an act that left Gibbs wrecked and sparked an avalanche of outrage. Hamlin insists it wasn't intentional, but Kevin Harvick has a very different take. Speaking on his Happy Hour podcast, the 2014 Cup Series champion Kevin Harvick didn't mince words. In his view, the contact wasn't just a racing incident, it was deliberate.
When I look at this scenario, obviously the 11, as you can see him go up from the hash mark right there, straight into the back of the 54, that was intentional, right? There's no hiding that wasn't intentional.
Harvick's criticism didn't stop there. He pointed out that the two had been racing each other hard earlier in the race. At one point, the roles were reversed. Gibbs was trying to pass Hamlin. The tension had clearly been building.
They raced hard like this with the roles reversed earlier in the race, with the 54 trying to pass the 11. But you could have wiped out all three of them right there.
While the on-track drama alone would have been enough to ignite controversy, Harvick raised a much deeper concern: what this means for Hamlin's long-pursued championship.
Here's the question that I have. Is that the moment that derails Denny Hamlin's 2025 championship? Because of the fact that decision now is a decision that you have to talk about next week. It's a decision that will divide the shop. It's a decision that shows a lot of people that you don't, really have a lot of
don't really care about the other people around you.
And this isn't just speculation. Harvick has been in those closed-door meetings. He knows what happens when team chemistry breaks down, and in NASCAR, that can be the difference between winning it all and falling apart. For his part, Hamlin took to his own podcast, Actions Detrimental, to explain his side of the story. He admitted he was trying to move Gibbs up a lane, but denied any intent to spin him out.
Well, it was twofold, because I was pretty much there into turn one, and then he moved down to the middle lane to cut the nose off.
Hamlin described the move as aero blocking, a tactic drivers use to disrupt airflow and slow down their competitors. He said he was so close to Gibbs that he tried to shove him into the next lane to maintain his position. Unfortunately, it spun him out, he said. Hamlin finished 12th at New Hampshire. Gibbs, on the other hand, failed to finish after the spin. The damage was done, both on the track and within Joe Gibbs Racing. Gibbs didn't issue a formal statement, but he didn't need to. He shared a clip of Harvick's remarks on his Instagram story, accompanied by a simple pointing finger emoji. The message was clear. He agrees with Harvick. No public words, no interviews, just a digital nudge that echoed louder than any press release. For JGR, this incident couldn't have come at a worse time. The team is already under pressure, and now its two high-profile drivers are publicly at odds. Harvick summed it up perfectly. The damage is already done. He explained that incidents like this force internal conversations, ones that are as uncomfortable as they are necessary.
I've been in them. You don't have a choice, but the drivers and the management team are going to have to, they're going to have to sit down and you have to have a conversation about it.
Joe Gibbs himself has acknowledged the issue, but seems to prefer letting the drivers work it out. Hamlin, however, has hinted that he'd rather see leadership step in. What complicates everything is the family dynamic. Ty Gibbs isn't just another rookie, he's the owner's grandson. That makes any confrontation more than just professional. It's personal. And that puts Hamlin in a dangerous position. Even if his explanation is honest, optics matter. When a veteran driver appears to take out the boss's grandson, the fallout isn't just public, it's political. Behind closed doors, it raises questions. Is Hamlin out for himself? Is he willing to risk the team's harmony to protect his own chances? Does he believe he's bigger than the organization? These are the kinds of questions that can rip a team apart. Hamlin has had a strong season, notching 5 wins and leading the field in several metrics, but he's also carrying the burden of being the winningest driver in Cup history without a championship. This year was supposed to be different. 2025 was shaping up to be his redemption arc, but after New Hampshire, that narrative is cracking. If Harvick is right and this incident divides the shop, Hamlin may be fighting more than just competitors on the track. He may be fighting a mutiny in his own garage. Teams win championships, not individuals. And if your own teammate doesn't trust you, or worse, believes you wrecked him on purpose, that trust is gone. Perhaps the most impactful moment of Harvick's podcast wasn't his critique of the wreck, it was his insight into the long-term consequences.
When you get in those moments, you better be really careful how you choose your words because it could absolutely blow the organization up.
He wasn't exaggerating. Harvick has been in the sport long enough to know that NASCAR teams are held together by more than engineering and aerodynamics. They're built on trust. Once that's gone, the rest unravels fast. Racing is emotional. It's personal. It's high-stakes adrenaline with millions of dollars and reputations on the line. In that environment, tempers flare and mistakes happen. But when those mistakes come from within your own garage, the consequences multiply. Joe Gibbs Racing is now walking a tightrope. Do they risk angering their veteran star by siding with the rookie? Or do they protect Hamlin and risk losing the support of the future face of the team? There's no easy answer, but one thing is certain, this incident won't be forgotten anytime soon. Everyone is watching JGR. The fans, the media, the sponsors. Every move from here on will be scrutinized. Will Hamlin and Gibbs settle things behind closed doors? Will Joe Gibbs step in and lay down the law? Or will this boil over into another on-track disaster? There's also the impact on the rest of the garage to consider. Other teams are watching too. Moments like this shake up not just standings, but also the psychology of a championship run. Rivals may now see JGR as vulnerable, cracks in the armor they can exploit in the remaining races. Sponsors and partners also have a stake. Public tension between top drivers can damage brand perception, and JGR's leadership knows that corporate relationships are built on the image of stability and control. This incident forces them to either clean house quickly or risk long-term reputational consequences. Media scrutiny is likely to intensify. Every pre-race interview, every pit road glance, and every team radio comment will be picked apart for signs of tension. In a sport where perception can shape reality, even the smallest sign of internal division could further destabilize JGR's playoff momentum. Harvick's warning was crystal clear. One more wrong move, and the 2025 season could spiral into chaos. In the end, it might not be Hamlin's driving that costs him the title. It could be his judgment. And if that's the case, Kevin Harvick won't have to say, "I told you so." Everyone will already know.